He is one of the greatest strikers of his generation. A powerful shot, a flair for finishing, and half-length hair that flutters with each of his celebrations when the Ivorian spreads his eagle wings towards the public. He is the idol of the elephants, for whom he spoke out to stop a civil war. I think that today, the Ivorian people have suffered too much. We need reconciliation. We need forgiveness. We need to learn to live together. He is a warrior fighting against racism.
I think the best way to fight is to show that you are smarter, is to show that you are better. It's to show that everything you do, you succeed, you're successful, and they are stupid. I think that's it.
A look back at the career of the great Didier Drogba. Subscribe to our channel to find the most beautiful football stories on video. Didier Yves Drogba was born in Abidjan on March 11, 1978. He lived in the district of Yopougon-Sikonji until the age of 5, before being sent to France, where he joined his uncle, Michel Goba. His uncle was a footballer and played as a striker for Stade Brestois in Ligue 2. For several years, Didier followed his uncle, who traveled around France for jobs at Angoulême or Dunkerque. It was there that the young Drogba signed his first license as a right-back. He moved to Tourcoing, Abbeville, Vannes, before finally finding his family, who joined him in France, in a flat at Bassonnet in Antony in 1993. Deprived of football for a year because of a grade repetition, Didier is allowed to resume his favorite sport at Levallois Sporting Club. At the time, it is Srebrenko Repšić who coaches the young boy. The Yugoslavian ex-partner of Safe Sušić in Sarajevo quickly sees the potential of the boy, who scored 30 goals with the U-17s. Sometimes outclassed in the first team, Drogba finally decided to join a youth academy, Le Mans. Blocked by Daniel Cousin, Drogba had to be content with a few late matches. Le Mans needed money and sold the young Didi to Guingamp for 100 million euros. For his first season, he scored 3 goals in 11 games to help the club maintain itself, and in 2003, the Ligue 1 discovered the rise of a future king. Not yet physically fit, Didier was injured at the beginning of the season and had to do a lot of jogging on the island of Bréa. He had a hard time, but the work paid off. Over the last 4 months of the season, Drogba is thundering. He scored 17 goals and impressed with his physical strength. Supported by players like Florent Malouda, Didi and EAG finished 3 points from the Champions League. The following year, the Eagle landed on the Canebière, and in a few months became the new idol of the Phocéen city. He had a lot of volleys, lightning headers, and a clinical finish. 32 goals in a single season, including 11 in European Cups, a huge year punctuated by a UEFA Cup final. On his way to Marseille, he crossed paths with José Mourinho during a match against Porto. At the end of the match, the coach came to see him to tell him that if he had the opportunity, he would bring him to his club. The following year, José Mourinho arrived at Chelsea, and Didier Drogba became the star striker of a soon-to-be legendary team. The Portuguese brought in his compatriots Ricardo Carvalho and Paulo Ferreira, as well as Petr Cech and Kezman, added to Makelele, Teré, and Lampard. Chelsea rolled into the Premier League and won their first league title for 50 years, as well as a League Cup on an extra-time goal by Didier Drogba. It was Didier Drogba's first title and the beginning of the Blues' reign over England. Chelsea retained their crown the following year, but during his first 2 seasons, Didi scored only 16 goals. The press pointed at his mediocre performances and his dives, but from 2006 onwards, the tables were turned. In partnership with Shevchenko, the Ivorian scored more goals and won more titles. He also made his mark on the national team, reaching the final of the 2006 African Cup of Nations and winning the African Player of the Year award ahead of the indestructible Samuel Eto'o. But Drogba also made his mark in the Champions League. In 2008, he scored a brace in the semi-final to eliminate Liverpool, before slapping Nemanja Vidic in the final to watch his team lose on penalties to Manchester United. The following year, he was unhappy with Iniesta's 93rd minute goal in the semi-final and railed against the Norwegian referee.
Trying to stop Drogba getting himself into further trouble.
Drogba still hasn't won the Champions League, but the Elephant continues to march on in the Premier League, a 3rd title in 2010, with a 44-goal season, a top scorer award, and a qualification for the World Cup. In South Africa, he will become the first Ivorian player to score in a World Cup finals against Brazil. In the end, he had to wait until 2012 to finally lift the Champions League. Against Bayern Munich, he scored the equalizer in the 88th minute and then the winning penalty. A nice way to say goodbye to his fans, to whom he will have offered 157 goals in 341 games. He left London the following season for Shanghai. The end of his career was more exotic. A few months in China, but Shanghai FC had administrative problems and Didier went to Galatasaray. One season to be welcomed by a cheering crowd, winning the Super League and seeing what it feels like to score in an Istanbul derby in the Turkish Super Cup. In 2014, he returned to Chelsea for a last-ditch effort, the time to pick up a fourth English Championship title. Then the following year, he headed to America and the Montreal Impact, where he scored a string of goals before ending his career in the American Second Division with Phoenix at age 40. A last flash of Drogba's lightning, which will have electrified the fans in the four corners of the globe. By his goals, but above all by his charisma, Drogba gave off an aura, to the point of having a fundraiser in his name, when the Marseille supporters would contribute to bring him back to the Vieux-Port, the Drogbathon, to the point of being elected best player in the history of Chelsea, to the point of being the embodiment of the Ivory Coast on and off the pitch. When his country went through a politico-military crisis in the mid-2000s, he campaigned for reconciliation. After the violence that followed the election of Alassane Ouattara in 2011, the national team's top scorer participated in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I think that the best response I can give to the Ivorian people today is this involvement in this commission, because today I think that the Ivorian people have suffered too much. I think that today we are obliged to start again on a new basis, and for that we need reconciliation, we need forgiveness, we need to learn to live together again. UN Ambassador, named as one of Time's most influential personalities. Also Vice President of the NGO Peace and Sport. Drogba multiplies actions and campaigns to promote social inclusion and peace around the world. Drogba is an exceptional footballer and man, one of the greatest strikers of the 21st century, a guy who has carried OM, Chelsea, and the Ivory Coast on his broad shoulders. An elephant who has deceived many a goalkeeper, won the most beautiful trophies, and who has always faced up to his responsibilities. For all that you have done, thank you, Didier. You will always be a legend and one of the greatest African players in history, if not the greatest. Thank you for watching the video. Please tell us in the comments if you think Didier Drogba is the best African player in the history of football. And now, what other football legend do you want us to make a video about? Don't forget to like and share with others. See you soon.